see when we prepare to bring you the news. Take a look at this.
Lights, camera, action. A vibrant smile at the opening of any news broadcast.
And welcome to KTN Sunday Night.
Once the cameras are on, there is no turning back.
In 3, 2, 1.
Millions of people on the other side waiting to see, hear, and understand the day's events. You can call them communication instruments who articulate news introductions.
Despite the government's allocation
And for the last 1 month, residents.
This is no easy feat.
Move to the right position on the screen. Move to the plasma. Get aside, move aside, to get in the position.
Multitasking is inevitable.
Maybe you're reading an intro, your director is shouting orders from this side, information from this side, telling you what to do. Someone else is shouting from the other end. A different person is trying to talk to the cameraman. You're on there thinking, okay, who am I supposed to listen to?
It is an art.
News anchors or news presenters are people who need to think on their feet.
Something could happen when you're on air. Your auto cue could fail, which is where we read our scripts from. A story could delay to come in. You might be given an impromptu interview. There might be breaking news.
Ever wonder what goes on behind the scenes in news presentation? Tonight, we reveal the details on how things work. News anchoring has evolved from this.
She is the Honorable Maoka Maore.
To this. It has become more dynamic, more involving, spontaneous, versatile, from presentation to studio equipment. Cameras, and more cameras. It is a job driven by wit, confidence, and adrenaline. Every bulletin comes with its own style, challenges.
We start calling our guests at 6 in the morning.
And energy. Don't be deceived by the glamour that comes with this job. Behind the scenes, there is a world of hard work, hours of research and consultations, and long hours that go into it.
Journalism is one of those professions, if you don't have a passion for it, it will show from day one, and you couldn't possibly do it because of the long hours. Sometimes it does not necessarily translate into the kind of financial reward you may be hoping for after such a hard day.
Before any bulletin, an anchor has to deeply understand every story that will be featured in the bulletin.
It's not just about standing in front of cameras and reading out stories. That part is exciting and it's glamorous, but it's going out on the field, hearing different stories from different people, and having them to trust you enough to deliver this content.
It's important as an anchor to go through the intro and the voiceover. When you go through the intro and the voiceover, you have a full understanding of what the story is all about. What's the developing story?
Different anchors have different ways of preparing for their bulletins. However, generally, the anchors report to work at least 4 hours before their bulletin. After arrival, they consult with the news editors to get a brief on the stories that will be aired during the bulletin. It is after this that most anchors prefer having time alone to research just in case there might be a breaking story related to the stories lined up. After this familiarization, the anchors go to the studio at least half hour before the bulletin, where they start preparing to go on air. At the studio, several procedures are followed. First, the anchors go through a makeup session. The clock continues to tick. Time is running out.
Joseph, can you hear me?
It must be mic'd properly for us to get the best sound. Times it can get crazy.
I want time to check on the sound. My director needs to be able to brief me on how he's planned, he or she has planned the show.
I guide them through the bulletin from the first story by story, and giving them instructions on the cameras they're facing.
As this is taking place, the news directors begin planning the presentation. They consult with the transmission crew, who inform the directors just how much time they have left to begin the bulletin.
I check if the studio is ready, and the microphones, I test them from the studio. Immediately I'm ready, then we liaise with the director and inform the director that now things are ready, we can move on. Hey, director, we are ready, coming to you in 1.5 minutes time. Are you ready? Are you set?
Standing by.
When all is set, the directors begin passing commands to the anchors through the earpiece informing them which cameras to use at the beginning of the bulletin and at different points throughout the show.
We have the preparation commands and execution commands. Both preparation commands, preparing the anchor for a certain task while you're on air, and execution command to alert the anchor when he's on air so that he's not caught off guard.
With a few minutes to go, the anchors take position and wait to begin the bulletin. They are the last actors after all is said and done. The clock ticks, then the presentation begins.
The 22nd day.
To this edition of KTN Live.
Chap, come to. Move to the left slightly. Bonnie Tunya, move closer to Edith. Okay, thank you guys.
The most painful bit about this job at times is that the viewers out there don't seem to think we're humans. You're not supposed to make mistakes.
You know, and you have bad days and things that happen, but you just sort of learn. But I also learned that a prayer sometimes helps.
There are words you can't pronounce, right? There are times you just forget your script or you forget what you're supposed to do.
Every day is different. You're not going to come to the office and have a brilliant day at the end of every day.
Above average level of dedication and passion for what you do, despite the odds. We face incredible hurdles throughout the day.
And that is what it takes to bring you that favorite newscast to your living room.
Head out, tick.
Betty Kyalo, How Things Work.